All right, welcome back. I've been talking about this for weeks, and I've been focusing in on this crazy state of California for a while now. You know, a few weeks back we were talking about California's Senate Bill 145, where these crazy progressive lunatics out in California have decided to pass some sexual predator reform bill where you now, if you should choose or force yourself upon someone 10 years younger than you, even as low as 14 years old, and have sex with a child, you no longer have to register as a sex offender in California. So if that's not crazy enough, California and a number of other states now are trying to pass rules where 1099 workers are abolished, and this will really affect the gig economy, all these people working from home, even down to Uber drivers or DoorDash drivers. And to break it down even more, someone more experienced in this stuff than me, Michael Saltsman joins me right now. He's managing director at the Employment Policies Institute. And you know, Michael, one of the talking points I had here was that unions seek to liberate gig workers. And to me, that's about as tongue-in-cheek as it can get. They want to liberate them from their paycheck and socialize them, if you ask me. What the heck is going on with this freelance independent contractor stuff?
You know, that's a good way to set it up, that unions are seeking to do this, because the problem that unions have always had with freelancers or independent contractors is that, unlike a full-time employee, a freelancer or a contractor is not someone who's easily unionized. And so now today, where you have 57 million people who work as freelancers, you've got growing gig economy jobs, either on-demand drivers or shoppers, unions would like a piece of that action, but they can't easily get to it. So what they're trying to do is change the rules of the game. And in California, what they did is pass this tremendously harmful law called AB 5 that basically made it difficult, if not impossible, for you to be an independent contractor or a freelancer in the state. And it had a negative impact on the bottom lines of hundreds of thousands of people out there, some of whom saw their entire careers and incomes flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, and it really gets scary when, you know, I guess, you know, I've been an independent contractor in my life, and there's certain rules around it. You know, you can't be bound to certain hours. You can't be forced to be in an office at a certain time. You got to have your own website, you know. And you really, when you're an independent contractor, you're starting your own little small business there. And it's crazy that states are starting to take action that could affect, you know, the federal economy. I mean, what will people do if they can't be an independent contractor anymore? They'll either get a job, be forced to pay union dues, or go on unemployment. It actually hurts the economy.
Yeah, I think that latter consequence you mentioned there is one of the scarier parts. I mean, there was a survey done of a number of people who freelanced, about 6,000 freelancers, and about half of them said they wouldn't work a full-time job for any amount of money, either because they have some personal circumstances or health issues that would prohibit them from working kind of a standard 40-hour-a-week office job. And so I think the concern is if you outlaw this nationwide, as the Democratic platform and as Joe Biden have proposed, then you have a large number of people who are just unable to work or earn any income. And the only option they have then is unemployment. That's totally counterproductive, because right now they're able to contribute to the economy, they're providing a needed service, and they're also providing for themselves. Somehow this has become a bad thing and something to lament instead of celebrate. And that's just not right.
You know, I'm not the biggest Uber fan, but it is, you know, quite the revolutionary paradigm changer of our time, to put regular people in their cars and drive around and feel safe. But you said there's almost 60 million freelance independent contractors in the country?
Yeah, so it's a much broader, you know, the gig economy, which people usually think of as, you know, let's say a DoorDash shopper or an Uber driver, is one slice of that. But as they've discovered in California, everyone from medical interpreters to musicians to transcription people to sort of performing artists, magicians, I mean, even some Santa Clauses. I mean, the independent contractor and freelancer economy goes far beyond Uber and Lyft, and that's part of the reason this law has been so harmful in California, is that it's wrapped up over 300 professions that have essentially been outlawed in the state. And being an on-demand shopper or driver are only a handful of those. So it's a much bigger group of people who are affected by this, even though our minds would often go to, let's say, Uber or a Lyft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the media business. I'm in the Wall Street business. I know plenty of people who are consultants. I know independent contractors who work on a number of different television and movie things. They're all, independents. They want to express their creativity. They want to have their own freedoms. And it kind of sounds anti-American to me for a state or even a federal government to say, hey, you can't be independent. You must be an employee somewhere. And it sounds like, another chink in the armor of capitalism.
I think it may be. And, it's interesting. You talk about California, and I think for years people have lamented. I mean, California has more people leaving than coming in because it's so, the cost of housing, the taxes, the mandates are so crushing in that state. What's been interesting about the debate over this freelance and independent contractor issue is I think it affects people's lives in a way that other issues in California haven't. California is a very high-tax state, but I think people have a reason. They say, oh, well, that's somebody else who's affected. With this law, they've actually affected people's livelihoods. They've said to hundreds of thousands of people at a minimum in the state, it is now illegal for you to earn income the way you did before. Some of these folks who were affected earned six-figure incomes through freelancing and contracting. So they've really taken away their ability to provide for themselves and their families.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people, I know, the generic is gig economy means Uber driver or something, but I don't think a lot of people realize how big a hunk of the workforce are independent contractors who get paid 1099, and that's their choice. That's their choice. If I know people that have been, consultants or 1099 for 20 years. That's the way they want to run their life. I don't know why a state or even the federal government should weigh in, but Joe Biden has said that he supports AB 5, correct?
He has. He has said that he supports it, and in fact, there's a ballot measure in California this fall called Prop 22 that basically will determine to what extent Uber drivers and everyone else is kind of bound by that law, and he's taken the union side on that issue. And I think the way you framed it there a minute ago was really important. I mean, at its core, this is not a partisan issue. It really comes down to, does the government know best how you should earn income, or do you know best how you should earn income?
Yeah, I mean,
and this shouldn't be a controversial issue.
It sounds like, I'm an independent. I'm not registered in a party. I kind of come down more in like a libertarian kind of political view, socially liberal, fiscally conservative. But it sure sounds like an infringement on the freedoms and liberties that we were guaranteed in this country when the government's going to start telling you if you want to work, you have to join a union. Kind of sounds like socialism.
There's an interesting movement on social media right now. I mean, there's a really active group of freelancers, one group called Freelancers Against AB 5, over 19,000 people on Facebook who are California freelancers who have been affected by this. And a large percentage of them are lifetime Democrats, many of whom now say, I am crossing party lines for the first time this cycle, not necessarily because I disagree with Democrats on 99% of the issues, but on this one issue, which is the most important issue to me, you've now made it illegal for me to earn income. And so I cannot vote for somebody who wants to outlaw my line of work. And I think some of the responses, I mean, you see legislators who say, well, if your business is something that's abusive or this or that, it shouldn't be allowed to exist. But what we're talking about here is not this is not child labor. I mean, we're talking
right.
about
These are adults.
the way that millions of Americans earn income. These are adults who choose to work this way. That's right.
No doubt about it. All right, Mike, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much. And keep us posted on what's happening. They're going to vote on Prop 22 in November. Is that it?
That's right, yeah. So that'll be kind of some big vote coming up in the fall, and then we'll see what happens nationally after the presidential election on whether we have this debate countrywide next year.
Got it. All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Michael Saltsman, thank you very much, Managing Director at the Employment Policies Institute. If you're a 1099 or an independent contractor, watch out.